Hey, what's up? Time for another squirrel, I guess. You know, just sitting around watching some crap on YouTube. Some ideas happened. I kind of wanted out of my head, so here we are. um, as you can see, I'm not my usual self. I've been hyping up this stuff. I'll just leave it at that. It'll come out when it's ready. This is another squirrel related to sexism. Simply put, I'll just drop that right out there. And except this time it's more about the fact that I'm kind of just all done with this whole sexism thing. Like, it's not that I find people being terribly sexist to me personally. I don't really notice anyway. I don't care. But just in general, I'll start with a story, I guess, and that'll probably refresh the ideas in my head and keep me on track a little bit better than maybe the usual. I'm not sure why I expected it to be any different this time. But I was, I don't know.
Yeah, this is him.
16, 17 years old, I guess.
Why do you keep calling me?
And,
I thought we settled this.
excuse me. We were, my mom and my stepdad, my stepbrother and I were staying at a friend's cottage for the summer.
Quit calling me.
And, for the sake of a clearer story, I guess this person was female. That's neither criticism nor virtue. I'm just saying she was female. And we were all there just hanging out, and she saw me reading a comic book, Marvel comic book of some kind, probably X-Men or something. That was kind of my thing when I was that age. And she looked at the pictures in it, and she's like, "Oh, isn't that terribly sexist?" I'm like, "What?" And I didn't know what she was talking about. Looking at the pages, looking around, and I couldn't see anything that was overtly sexist in my eyes. And I'm just like, "What do you mean?" And she's like, "Well, look at the way those women are dressed in their skin-tight outfits, with skin showing, and I mean, unusually, perhaps, well-endowed, in the chest area. But not all of them. But they did tend to follow a typical body pattern, at least, especially in the 90s, right? So, excuse me, this fly just landed on my nose. Joys of summer. So there was kind of the expected sort of physique of the female superhero. And I was like, "Oh, okay, I can see where you're getting at." And then, yeah, and I was like, you're right. They are kind of a generalized, over-perfected kind of physique that these women had. And I was like, you're right. They do have this kind of physique. I was like, but if you open your eyes and look at the rest of the pictures on these pages, you'd notice that the male characters are just as unrealistically, well, no, not unrealistically. I mean, there are people who look that in shape, and have that physique. They work a lot at it, and it takes a lot of effort, So there's a certain virtue to that, I suppose, as long as it doesn't become an obsession. But getting sidetracked again, I've kind of covered that already before in one of my previous squirrels. But I was like, those men are just as over-perfected, an idealized version of what the super male physique would be. I said, but you have to remember that these are superheroes and supervillains, and these are the very embodiment of, like the pinnacle of human evolution, or these people with superpowers, and they go out and they use their most of them, their bodies in a very physical way, and constantly getting exercise, trying to save the world from itself or whatever else is trying to destroy it. So I was like, yeah, in that way they are, but they're uber humans. They're not intended to be realistic. So I was like, but I said both male and female are just as stereotyped or physicalized, or what I mean. It's like I said, it's becoming less prevalent now. There are quote unquote normal looking superheroes, and there are superheroes that have disabilities of some kind, or whatever, or aren't the ideal of perfected beauty, or whatever. And that's cool because I like to see that. Like see, it makes them more. If they're supposed to be like an everyman that has superpowers and suddenly finds themselves in these situations where they've got amazing abilities, well, then I could see them just having a normal physique, at least to start with, like maybe somebody like Superman or something like that who has an alien physique and he's like, godlike powers and stuff. And maybe that has something to do with the way he looks, right? But, at least, I guess, no, there's no at least. That's just that. That's that story. So that's kind of like the backbone of what I'm going to hang some ideas off of. And yeah, anyway, I guess those messages will just have to keep coming up. I got added to a group, and I'm in the middle of trying to set up a race, and I'm in the middle of trying to do this, and I'm still getting all their notifications. So, yeah. So to those people, hey, what's up? Sorry I can't be racing, but I got some shit on my mind. So, and that's a really pretty sunset. Anyway, sunset squirrel. Damn it. So yeah. So, yeah, that this kind of a convoluted way leads me to the trailer I saw just a few moments ago for the new Wonder Woman movie. And I gotta say, it looks pretty damn badass, and it looks like whoever the woman is that they picked to play Wonder Woman, although I had my doubts when I saw her in the Superman versus Batman movie. The way she plays her character and the kind of the fierceness of her character, or the way she's able to play it, is great as far as I can tell from a 2-minute trailer. So that's awesome. I think she'll do a pretty damn good job, and I think it might actually be a decent friggin' movie. Where everybody will just be happy that, all right, cool, there's a female superhero movie out there, and it's not stupid and shitty, and the person's not overly sexualized, and it's a well-rounded character and strong, and blah, 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 blah. It's going to be a good movie because it's going to be a good movie, I think. And I wish that we could have conversations about movies and games and whatever that happened to include females from a male's perspective, without constantly having to defend one's opinion about something simply because of the fact that there happens to be involved or revolve around a female person. So now suddenly, because Wonder Woman, the movie, is a female character and has a female actress, I have to go through big, long preambles. I mean, not with my friends and stuff like that, because they know I'm not sexist. I don't give a damn what's between your legs. I mean, unless I'm romantically interested, well, that's none of your damn business. But, damn it. Sex squirrel. That's not terribly surprising, I guess. I'll look at the sunset, take a few deep breaths, see what happens. So yeah, I saw the Wonder Woman trailer, and it looks like it's going to be badass. I'm not in any way criticizing the movie, the actress, or her own physiology, like, the way her body's built and the way she appears on film. I don't really have any criticisms from the standpoint of a moviegoer, a film lover. And she is fit and she's toned and she's thin. A lot of people have taken some issue with that and are cautiously trying to express their opinions about it. And I'm kind of trying to do so as well, which is why I had the whole preamble. Again, I understand if this woman was picked for this role and they asked her, hey, you gotta build a bunch of muscle, and she's like, well, no, I'd kind of like to keep my body shape. It's my natural body shape, right? Then that's her right as an actress. I don't think she should have to completely change her body just to fit people's predisposed ideas about what Wonder Woman should be like. I mean, she's been portrayed many ways in the comics. Personally speaking, from someone who enjoys a lot of realism and attention to detail in movies, I would have liked to have seen her be a bit more muscular. Not because I do enjoy muscular women. I mean, fit women. just because they're healthy. But that's beside the point. I'm not saying that for that reason. And here's the reason I am saying it. Is Wonder Woman's a warrior. Has been her whole life, as far as I know. I don't know her backstory all that well. And she's been fighting sword, shield, her whip, using her body physically because she has, the superhuman strength. I can't remember where that comes from, if it was magically given to her or all the Amazons from the island or like that. Anyway, but the point is, any person, male or female, spends their entire life swinging a sword around, weighs 2, 3, 4, 5 pounds. That 2 pounds is pretty light for a sword. So 3 to 5 pounds doesn't sound like much. It's an oversized soup can, double-sized can of ravioli, maybe. Good old Chef Boyardee, best terrible crap ever. Anyway, Boyardee Squirrel. That's a first. But anyway, if anybody, male or female, it doesn't matter who they are, does that for their entire lives and every day and goes into battle. Not only that, but also carrying a 5-pound shield, 10-pound shield. Even a light shield would probably only get down as far as 5 pounds. I can't see it being any lighter, unless it's made of like canvas or something. But her shield is quite clearly metal, so there you go. So she's got 5-pound weights in each hand, and she's running around, jumping around with armor on and metal boots that stop shotgun shot at least. So they've got to have some weight. And she's doing all these things all the time because that's what she is. She's an Amazon. She's a warrior, And there's a scene in the trailer with a bunch of these Amazons riding horses into battle and just completely laying waste to an army of bad guys, and it's freaking awesome. And they look like badasses, and it doesn't, not. They look like badass women. They just look like badasses, And I wish as a person having a conversation about a character in a movie, I could get away with this constant having to pre-defend myself for having an opinion about someone's physicality, because it's assumed that it's a man trying to enforce his I don't know, sexist ideals upon a woman or something like that. It's not about that, I'm just saying, in real life, people do that shit. They build muscle. They get fairly muscular. I'm not saying they're like, she's going to turn out looking like Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's it's not likely to happen. It's just a characteristic of female physiology that generally they tend to be slender. It's more slender of build than men, and given years of conditioning with the same criteria, right? So, but she did clearly exercise a lot for this movie, and she's in shape. She's not like skinny because she doesn't eat enough. She's just thin because she doesn't have a whole lot of body fat on her. She's been exercising, swinging around, shield, sword, and even if they're made of plastic, it's still a good exercise, right? And she's clearly taken some effort to find a compromise between building muscle and retaining her body shape she's happy with and comfortable with. But it seems like all the time, the Ghostbusters movie, the new one, you're not allowed to say it sucks because God forbid if you're a guy, you'll get accused of being sexist. I haven't seen the movie. I've seen a couple of trailers. It doesn't really interest me. But from what I hear, it's more of kind of a slapstick, kind of like toilet humor sort of movie, rather than, for me, what the original Ghostbusters was, which was a serious movie that had a lot of jokes in it, that was also a little bit of a horror movie, that was also, a sci-fi movie. It just had a little bit of everything, And the humor was about writing and timing and situations and, it's just different, I don't know. I guess I'd have to see the new one, but I'll probably wait till it comes out, on some sort of streaming service or something and see it there. It gets bloody expensive to see a movie these days in the theater, It's, for me, anyway, it's like $13, $14 to get into a regular one. It's $15 if you want to see it 3 or 16 or 17. I don't know. It's getting up there. And then you get large popcorn. Well, that's $12, $13. You get a large pop, and that's like $6 because it's just stupid because it costs them like 6 cents to make the whole jug, right? But and then by the time you're all said and done, you're in the hole about $60 just to go see. There's that 15-minute thing. So if everybody's seeing a movie and they're kind of like being critical of it and trying to be critical of it as a movie, not because it was cast with females, you know, like it's people that are constantly having to hedge their statements with clauses and caveats to stop, you know, the raging masses from accusing them of sexism and burning them at the stake. Like, it's got to come to an end. It's just annoying. Like, you know, I mean, like, for example, Conan, the movie, the original. Well, I don't know if anybody younger than me's even seen it these days, but it's a cheesy 80s movies, and yeah, Arnold's in it, but he's Conan, so he only says about 3 words in the whole movie. He's a barbarian, so his just kind of thick Austrian accent sort of just worked with it. But the point is, even though it was a cheesy, semi-shitty 80s movie, they at least took the time to set up the fact that he was chained to some sort of giant millstone, and he pushed this thing his whole life. And then he was a fighter, like some kind of cage fighter or, you know, whatever, as a slave, for even longer, like a gladiator. And that was the reasoning behind his physique. And, you know, that was what, back in 82? So nobody, sexism wasn't really a thing. I mean, it was a thing. It happened all the time, and it was not right, but it wasn't a thing that people had conversations about. It wasn't a thing that people got angry about on the internet, because, you know, there was no internet, and sexism was fairly active, but I don't know. Like I said, I can't really comment on the sexism in the 80s because I was, you know, not even in junior high yet, so I had no idea what sexism even was back then. But it'd be nice, I guess. I'm just probably going to wrap this up because then I'll just start rambling down too many squirrel holes and people will fall asleep or turn me off or something. It'd be nice to just be able to talk about characters in movies and characters in games and games in movies and books and whatever that have people in them, male or female, that can just be represented as realistic people. It's okay if they're beautiful. You know, movies are about fantasy. They're about imagining yourself being the dashing hero or heroine and rescuing the damsel or dude in distress. You know, who you know, people have favorite actors and actresses for a reason. Part of it is they love the way they act. And some actors and actresses are people's favorites because they enjoy them. They think they're beautiful. Male or female, you know, they're like, yeah, you know, I would like to be with a person that looks like that because I find that person beautiful. And I think it should be alright for people to have that opinion too, because it's normal, completely normal to find someone attractive. That's how mates find each other. That's why we exist as a species. You know, I don't know. It just boils down to the same basic 2 rules that if all of humanity simply embraced them, there would be no more troubles in the world, really. And it's simply this. Just treat everyone with kindness and respect. I mean, how fucking simple is that? Well, that's a good thing to end it on, period. You know? No moon? I can't see the moon. So I'm going to stare at the 7-Eleven sign or gas station sign. Maybe not think about stuff. Maybe I'll just drive around and run over some pedestrians or something. I don't know. Anyways, don't stop thinking. Be good to one another. See ya.